Again, Erev Shabbos, Parshas Miketz, Shabbos, Chanuka. Wow. Shabbos, Chanuka. I'm sitting there looking at the Chanuka Lach, and I asked my 4-year-old son, what do you see? What do you see in the candles? And he says, fire! I said, very good. What do you see in the fire? And he looks very closely, and he says, nothing. And he's not wrong. The whole Vort, what Yavin was trying to teach us, is that there's nothing there. There's nothing deeper, there's nothing to see. Even though we know that the various colors in the Chanuka Lach are connected to the there's Balsam of Yosef, there's a lot going on. There's a lot there. But Yavin says no. Moshe Shapiro says that what Yavin did was, there was a fruit growing, and first there was a little flower bud, right before the fruit grows. And what Yavin did is they cut off the flower before the fruit grew. They're like, it's a beautiful flower. Yeah, Yaftalikim Le'efes, it's beautiful, 100%. But Chaval, do you know what's in this flower? If you let it grow just a little bit more, go a little deeper, there's a fruit. There's food, there's satiation. There's a beautiful fruit that can come from this. But no, you stop. As soon as there's something pretty, they drop it all. I heard a Moedik Amaisa that really tells us that there's something deeper. Especially when it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like there's a fruit in a flower. It doesn't look like there's a fruit in a flower. There is. It's a haunting story. There was a Yid in a concentration camp, and they're in the Holocaust, and he wanted to know what was going on in the gas chambers. They had hints. The Nazis never told him straight out. And he went and he snuck in by himself one night to see what was going on in there. When he got in, it was empty. And he's walking through these cement rooms, and it's chilling. But then he hears voices, and that freaks him out because he's supposed to be the only one there. So the first he hides, and then he realizes that they're not coming any louder, so he goes to see where the voices are coming from. And he walks into a side room, and he sees 3 Yidden there. Now these Yidden were appointed by the Nazis to help with the gas chambers. And the Nazis did this in all the camps. And they would have rotations. Soon these Yidden found themselves in the gas chambers themselves. It was a terrible job. It was a terrible job. And the trauma that the survivors had from having to be the cause of the functioning of the gas chambers. It's shrekach. He sees these 3 Yidden sitting across from each other, and they're whispering, and he listens closely, and he hears that they're zoging Tehilim. So he clears his throat. He sees that they're Yidden, and they look up and say, what are you doing here? He says, what are you doing here? And he said, we work here. He says, what are you saying Tehilim? And he said, let us explain. He said, our job is awful, and there's very little that we can do. It doesn't get darker than in the gas chambers of Auschwitz. But every now and then we sit down, whenever we catch a moment, and we say Tehilim for the neshamas. We say Tehilim for the Aliyas neshamas of all the Yidden that went up in this gas chamber. All the Kadeshim. Yavin doesn't let us see that. We have 4 Galiyas. We have Toyu v'voyu v'choshech al panei Sohoim. Choshech is Yavin. They were machshechinim shel Yisrael. They let us walk free, but they made sure that we were blind. Chevra, when we look at the Chanuka Lach, it's a time to daven. It's a time to ask Hashem for whatever we want. Befrat beruchnias, but also begashmias. The Aragonus is in there. It's an incredible experience. People, I heard a first-hand story. A guy was at my house last week. He said nishmas at the candlelights. He's like he's mamish. He's not a litvak, he's a yeki. Like, he doesn't do schoolis. But he did it because he really needed something. And he said, he didn't give me the details, but he says, like, nisim gluyim, like, mechayim mesim happened, and he's forevermore a believer. Daven at the candles, look in there and think. Look deeper than just the candle. When you see that there's nothing there, say, is there really nothing there? Maybe there's a fruit inside this flower. Realize that we're looking at at something physical, at oil, which was crushed from an olive, mahadrin, right? You have to crush something in order to get some geshmaka oil. Yet the tough times bring us to the good times. Then you have this physical oil that's going up through a wick into spirituality. It's turning into light. What is light? It's nothing. But could you imagine surviving without that nothing? Can you imagine surviving without fire, without heat, without warmth, without cooking abilities? May the Rebbeinu Shalom give us the schus, the eyes, and the neshama to be able to see deeper, to be able to see past the darkness of Yavam Memher V'Yameinu, and thank the Rebbeinu Shalom on this tremendous Yom Tiv, L'hodos V'Lahalom. Yidmeh Lach, Yidmeh Lach, Yishveach, Yarach Lach, Yidmeh Lach, Yidmeh Lach, Yishveach, Yarach Lach, ay, 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 I get Shabbos Afreilich in Chanuka.